What if I told you that the reality you desire tries to talk to you every day, but you may have learned not to hear it, perhaps unintentionally, perhaps systematically, because from the moment you were born, they always directed your attention outward, to accounts, numbers, logic, but not to your inner world, your intuition, that subtle vibration. Yet reality does not remain silent. It only whispers, and when you become silent, it begins to speak. Think about it. You're thinking about someone, and suddenly a song comes on that mentions their name. A sequence of numbers has been following you for days. A stranger opens their mouth and says the answer you've been searching for weeks. Have these things never happened to you? And each time, did something inside you say, this can't be a coincidence? That's where the real question begins. What if it's not really a coincidence? And yes, you're right. It's more than a coincidence. Like this video appearing right now. Maybe it appeared at the exact moment you needed it most. Maybe a word you'll hear here will change your life. So listen, synchronizations are not accidents. They are messages. They are moments of guidance, when reality speaks to you, sometimes in a whisper, sometimes in striking harmony. Synchronicities are the language of this universal system, a language that defies time, space, and logic. But your heart recognizes it, because this language calls you to remember, not what you don't know, but what you already know. Thousands of years ago, ancient civilizations began to decipher this language. The Egyptians carved symbols into the walls of their temples, leaving messages not only for the gods, but also for the mathematics of the universe. The Maya read earthly events from the cycles of the sky, knowing that nothing was random. That is why synchronicities were sacred. A number that keeps repeating itself, a child suddenly saying a word, or a symbol appearing in a dream at night. All of these were signs calling you back to yourself. However, modern society calls this luck, coincidence, or chance, because the system doesn't want you to notice the truth. These moments are proof that they aren't telling you the truth. Take the time to watch this video, because we are revealing the ancient secret. Together we will discover what synchronicities truly are, why they occur, and most importantly, how you can use these meaningful signs to reshape your reality. Before we go into this, I want you to do 3 things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave the number 777 in the comments. You can also share it with someone you want to benefit from this video and support their spiritual awakening. Now let's go deeper. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned to believe in a world of logic, structure, and predictability. You were taught that everything has a measurable, observable, and repeatable cause. What you couldn't see was dismissed, and what you couldn't feel was considered imaginary. This was done not only through education, but also through a belief system that permeated every aspect of society. Yet as a child you were not like that. Before anyone taught you what to believe, you had the ability to sense the subtle touches of life. You could perceive energies, see the perfection in timing, and sense events before they happened. But whenever you shared these experiences, you were told, it's just your imagination. And at that moment, the ancient communication between you and the universe began to break down. The modern education system chose to suppress this inner wisdom rather than recognize it. It taught you to memorize rules instead of trusting your intuition, to calculate instead of feel, to listen to external authority instead of your inner guidance. Education aimed to produce obedience, not wisdom. Knowledge was valued over consciousness, and proving over feeling. Your conscious awareness was drowned out by data and test scores. Over time you stopped noticing the synchronicities right before your eyes. The connection you had with the universe became a suppressed inner voice. You were shown science, but only a version confined to matter. While true science aims to discover the unknown, the scientific model imposed on you was preoccupied with dismissing the unknown. You were taught that the universe is cold, random, and meaningless. Every event, every synchronicity, was labeled merely a cognitive illusion. Seeing the same numbers repeatedly was confirmation bias. The person who appeared at the exact right moment had no meaning. It was just chance. Everything was systematically stripped of meaning, because meaning empowers, and an individual living in a world with meaning begins to remember their inner power. But the greatest minds in history did not think this way. Carl Jung demonstrated with countless examples that synchronicities are not random, but rather how the unconscious mind moves in harmony with external reality. Nikola Tesla said, "If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Albert Einstein stated that intuition could be a more powerful tool than science. These individuals understood that reality is not a straight line but an infinite network interconnected with everything else. And to perceive this network, one needs consciousness, not just the mind. We live in a culture that labels those who speak of synchronicities as superstitious, irrational, or spiritual eccentrics. Yet what is actually at play is far deeper social conditioning. Because taking synchronicities seriously means shattering the system's greatest illusion, the idea that everything is random. When this belief is shattered, the individual begins to liberate themselves. They begin to trust their inner voice, to follow their intuition instead of external guidance. And this is the system's greatest fear: independent, conscious individuals. Ancient civilizations knew this secret. Egyptian priests studied how the alignment of the planets synchronized with events in people's lives. Tibetan priests sought traces of the divine plan in the perfect timing of moments. Eastern mystics taught that when the mind is silent, the universe speaks. This knowledge was passed down for centuries, but at some point it was cut off. It was forgotten, suppressed. And the world that replaced it blinded you by telling you to believe only what you see. The universe is not a machine. It is a living field of consciousness. Thoughts, feelings, and intentions send signals to this field. Synchronicities are the responses to those signals. Just like a radio, you send out a frequency and the universe sends you back an echo. When you think of someone and receive a message from them, it is not random. When you find the answer to a specific question in a book you open, it is not mental magic. It is a conscious connection. Synchronicities are the bridge between the invisible and the visible. They are passages between the subconscious and reality. That's why when these events first begin to be noticed, an awakening begins. Because once you start seeing the patterns, you can no longer ignore them. These small cracks in reality are the points where the illusion dissolves, and the light seeping through those cracks whispers to you, "You are not alone. This world is more conscious than you think, and you are much more powerful than you think." There is a hidden pattern within reality. Though it may seem complex or even random from the outside, upon closer inspection, a rhythm, a flow, a consciousness reveals itself. Contrary to the system we were taught, decisions and events do not float aimlessly in the void. They are all connected to an invisible order. Synchronicities are the moments when this order reveals itself most clearly. They are not glitches in the system, but rather the most tangible signs that the system is functioning. In a way, they are the cracks in the matrix, vibrations that reveal the invisible behind the visible. The question of where these messages come from is the first step that deepens us. Some believe these signs come from your higher self, a version of you that knows you best, existing in a dimension beyond time. Others see them as the vibrations of a shared mental space. Jung called the collective unconscious a spiritual ocean formed by the convergence of humanity's thousands of years of experiences, symbols, and memories. Others believe these messages come from the universe itself, God, source, simulation, energy. Whatever name you give it, this conscious realm is speaking to you. And there is one truth: these signs are not meaningless. Each one is a call, an awakening, a guidance. They exist to awaken you, to pull you out of autopilot, and bring you to the threshold of conscious creation. When you begin to see synchronicities, the illusion of coincidence begins to dissolve. Nothing seems random anymore. Every encounter, every coincidence, every timing, it's as if they've made a pact with you. And this realization leads you to the big questions. How does this system work? What shapes this invisible flow? How do these events appear at such perfect times? The answer lies in the invisible mechanism behind reality. Because synchronicities are not just beautiful coincidences. They are the product of the dynamic relationship between consciousness and reality. The external world is not just a stage. It is a living field of consciousness that dances and interacts with your inner world. And as you begin to understand how this field works, you also begin to realize your influence on life. Even modern science has begun to accept that the mind shapes reality. A network in your brain called the reticular activation system filters the world according to your focus. Just as you see that model everywhere when you buy a new car, synchronicities also multiply when you start paying attention to them. Because attention is conscious energy, and energy is the language of reality. But this cannot be explained by mental attention alone. At the intersection of science and spirituality lies something deeper: quantum consciousness, the observer's effect on the observed. So when you change your perspective, reality changes too. The double-slit experiment has shown us this matter is influenced by consciousness. Therefore, your intention, focus, emotion, and belief have the power to shape reality. This leads us to the law of vibration. Every part of the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. Thoughts, emotions, and beliefs also carry energy. If you constantly think about fear, scarcity, and chaos, synchronicities will echo back to you at that frequency. But if you align your frequency with intention, alignment, gratitude, and awareness, reality changes. Because synchronicities are not just external events, they are reflections of your inner vibration. And one of the deepest aspects of this is that the great engine behind this system is the subconscious. While the conscious mind is busy, the subconscious works with your intentions, desires, and fears. If you set an intention, the subconscious creates invisible connections for you. It brings that person to you. It keeps bringing that number back to you. It whispers that word in your dreams. This is not random. Your subconscious mind uses invisible networks to create this alignment. That's why people who live with synchronicities experience them more often, because they have focused their attention there, because their belief systems are aware of this language. They are not special people, they have simply opened their receptors. This is what makes the difference: awareness, alignment, and belief. When they accept that reality is created not only in the external world but also within, they begin to hear, see, and follow the signals. And as this awareness grows, the universe's response speed increases. Some claim that synchronicities are merely a trick of the mind, selective perception, attention bias, mental constructs. But ask yourself, why do these events feel so personal, so meaningful, so perfectly timed? Why do these illusions appear at the threshold of life-changing decisions? Why do these events increase only when you start paying attention? Because it's not a game, it's a form of communication. Synchronicities are the conscious mind's dialogue with the subconscious and universal intelligence. When you open your eyes, the system begins to work, and you are no longer just an observer but a guide. You transform from a passive traveler of reality into an active creator. Every sign you see brings you one step closer to yourself. That is why synchronicities are not a decoration, but a tool. They exist to guide you to your own truth. And when you begin to see them, true transformation begins. Some people think that life is ordinary, random, and mechanical. But those who notice synchronicities know that there is a hidden order behind what is visible. Life actually moves in a conscious pattern, and this pattern becomes visible as it aligns with your vibration. Synchronicities are moments when this hidden order becomes visible. They are not random occurrences within the system. On the contrary, they are moments when the universe consciously communicates with you. And when you begin to see these signs, you realize that reality has always been trying to tell you something. You were just not on the right frequency. So where do these messages come from? Who sends them? Some believe they come from your higher consciousness, from beyond time, from that vast awareness that encompasses all your versions. Others say these messages filter through the collective unconscious, humanity's shared memory. As Jung described it decades ago, it's a field of consciousness where all thoughts, experiences, and intuitions accumulate. Others see the universe itself, God, the source, or divine consciousness as the sender. Whatever its name, there is one truth: these messages are not random. They are an invitation. They are vibrations calling you to awaken, to pay attention, to transition from automatic living to conscious creation. And the most striking part is this: once you begin to notice them, there is no turning back. The illusion of coincidence begins to dissolve. Life ceases to be a meaningless chain. Every moment becomes a door opened for you. Because synchronicities are not just messages, they are a passageway. And passing through this passageway expands consciousness. For the universe to convey these messages, you must attune yourself to its frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. Thoughts, emotions, intentions, all oscillate at a certain frequency. Low frequencies such as fear, anxiety, and doubt constrict energy and limit consciousness. The mind switches to survival mode. Your field of vision narrows, and your attention span decreases. In this state, it is difficult to see synchronicities because you are disconnected from the universal flow. But when you shift to higher vibrations such as gratitude, inner peace, curiosity, and surrender, that is when energy opens up, the field expands, and synchronicities begin to appear. That's why meditators, mindful individuals, and those who turn inward experience these messages more frequently. They have silenced the noise and amplified the voice of intuition. The frequency is now in harmony. The universe begins to speak. But there is another very important element here: trust. People who truly experience synchronicities are not just those who notice them. They are those who observe them, trust them, and follow them. Because the universe does not just show, it guides. And when you do not follow what is shown, the connection weakens. Many people experience synchronicities, but ignore them, dismiss them as exaggeration, wait, and try to be sure. But the signs call you to action. They open doors, but it is up to you to walk through them. Hesitation weakens the bond. Trust strengthens the bridge. If you want to strengthen this connection, what you need to do is clear: pay attention, trust your intuition, and don't dismiss what you see. Synchronicities are not just meant to be noticed, they are meant to be followed. They are not just messages, but moments of alignment. And once you take that step, the system begins to work. The world is full of synchronicities at every moment, but most people do not know how to recognize them. The biggest problem is not knowing how to read these messages. Yet the pattern is always there. When your eyes are trained, you begin to see. The first step is awareness. It requires an inner acceptance that life is not random, that everything is connected. The universe speaks through symbols, repetitions, and timing, and these usually appear in three ways: numbers, symbols, and perfectly timed encounters. You keep seeing the same numbers over and over again: 111, 222, 333. These are not just numbers, they are a frequency manifesting itself to you. In ancient teachings, numbers are the codes of creation. Each carries an energy. When these numbers appear, they signal a shift in your frequency. What were you thinking at that moment? What were you feeling? The answer is right there. At other times, a symbol, an animal, a song, or a phrase, anything that holds special meaning for you may appear. The same message comes from multiple places, from multiple people. That animal keeps appearing before you. The same word is heard repeatedly. These are not ordinary occurrences. These are notes sent to you by the invisible intelligence. And the deepest synchronicities appear at the moments that shape your life. An opportunity that comes when you've lost hope. A person who appears when you need them most. A new door that opens through an unlikely coincidence. These are not coincidences. They are guidance. They are gentle touches made with compassion. The way to understand them is to ask questions. When something happens, stop, think. What was I thinking before this? What does this message correspond to? Am I at a crossroads in my life? Has this happened before? These questions begin to unravel synchronicity. Consciousness comes into play. Keeping a synchronicity journal is a powerful tool. Write down every moment you notice. Over time you will see patterns, messages, symbols, recurring motifs. None of these are alone. They all speak to you. But seeing is not enough. The greatest change comes from taking action. If a message keeps coming back, it is waiting for an answer. And the answer is action. The universe doesn't want passivity. It wants to create with you. It shows you the door, but taking the step is your responsibility. And that's where the real magic begins. As you take steps, the messages multiply. As you follow, paths open up. As you trust, the universe reshapes itself for you. Reality begins to work with you. From that moment on, the flow of your life changes. People who live in harmony with synchronicity do not wait for signs, they experience them. Opportunities, encounters, and inspirations are part of their lives. They are not chosen, they are simply awake. Because a conscious mind creates reality. And that is why synchronicities are not just coincidences, but codes of creation. When you realize that reality works with you, you understand that events are no longer things that happen to you. You are the co-creator of what unfolds. And now, with this awareness, you are at a point of choice. You now know what synchronicities are, how they work, and how they can be used. So what will you do with this knowledge? For most people, this is not an end, but a turning point. Many will greet what they hear and feel with momentary awe, but then return to their old patterns. They will see a synchronicity, feel an inner vibration, but then immediately try to explain it away as a coincidence. A feeling inside them will say, "Go there," but the mind will intervene and list thousands of reasons. It's not the right time, maybe I'm wrong. It was just a coincidence, and so they won't step through that door, because what they're waiting for is certainty, a bigger sign, a clearer confirmation. But the truth is, certainty never comes without taking action. The system has trained you this way, to ignore the signs, to dismiss your inner voice, to reject your intuition. It has aligned you with external authorities, distancing you from inner wisdom. But now the curtain has lifted. Now you know reality is not random. It is conscious, structural, responsive, and most importantly, you are part of that structure. With your thoughts, your feelings, your choices, you move within this fabric, you give it direction. What does this mean? Synchronicities are no longer things that happen to you. They happen for you. And more importantly, they happen through you. Every synchronicity, every perfect timing, every repeating number or message, they are all an invitation. They are calling you to a deeper life, a higher awareness, a greater harmony. And each one whispers the same thing. You see now, you are ready now. If you take only one thing from this video, let it be this: do not ignore the signs. The universe whispers first. If you don't listen, it raises its voice. If you still don't understand, it falls silent, and you fall back into an unconscious cycle. Days pass, but something remains missing inside you. But if you listen, if you take that sign seriously, if you trust your intuition and take action, reality begins to change. People who live their lives in synchronicity don't experience these moments because they're lucky. They experience them because they're attentive. They follow their intuition, follow the messages, and align with the process. And that's why their lives don't get easier, they get deeper. Everything gains meaning. Timing becomes flawless. And yes, sometimes it feels like someone behind the scenes is arranging everything for them, because that's exactly what's happening. But know that everything we have discussed here is only the beginning, because now, you have seen the patterns. You have felt the connections. It is time to stop guessing and start trusting. It is time to stop silencing your intuition and start giving it space. Notice the signs, follow them, and most importantly, take action. Because once you start aligning, you'll realize that synchronicities aren't rare, they're everywhere. They've just been waiting for you. They've just been waiting for you to wake up. If this video resonated with you on a deep level, leave a comment with just one sentence: "I've awakened." This small word alone is an intention, and the universe hears your intention. It always has. Remember, you didn't find this video, it found you. See you in the next timeline.